What's up, humans, and welcome to a new Psicoactivo. Happy Friday, everybody. I just released the interview with Dr. Beatriz Villarroel and Mr. Dennis Asberg from Ocean X. We talked about the transients, the astronomical plates, stigma in the scientific community. I spoke to Mr. Asberg about his the Baltic Sea anomaly investigation that he's running right now. He told me some really interesting stuff that I don't think he said before. So you guys can check that out. But I have to do a video about this because this just broke and it's a very concerning piece of news. And there's a lot of information running around. There's a lot of stuff that I don't think it's okay to just relay. Right now, there is an interview on the Soul Foundation's channel where Dr. Peter Skafish spoke to Congresswoman Paulina Luna and Dr. Abby Loeb. Congresswoman Luna spoke about the hearings on September 9th that are about to happen, and Dr. Abby Loeb spoke about the 3-eye atlas object. But one of the most interesting pieces was at the start of the conversation where Congresswoman Luna talks about the witnesses that decided to not come forward because they were afraid that something terrible could happen to them. And then she said something about David Grusch that is currently sending everyone on haywire because there's people speculating about what happened. There's not a lot of clear information, but let's hear what Luna said. Yeah.
I do not get any sense that he is full of nonsense. I think that he takes this very seriously. And then when you realize that a lot of these witnesses, look, we had tried to get another hearing with the task force before this one. And every single witness we had reached out to said that they didn't want to testify because they were scared for their life. And these were not people that you see in the media. These were not, podcasters or anyone who's made a career talking about it. These were legitimate, former military and or military contractors, and they were literally afraid of being killed. And then you had David Grusch tell us directly that he was actually felt in fear of his life, and weird things had happened prior to that first hearing. And then I would encourage all of you to actually reach out to him, because even just yesterday I actually went into the SCIF with David Grusch and Eric Burlison. And prior to that SCIF meeting happening, there was something really bizarre that took place with David Grusch, and it's being handled at the law enforcement level. But, things like that happening are not normal, especially being that David Grusch is currently Eric Burlison's congressional staffer. And so you're seeing a lot of stuff now flush out. And what I can tell you is we are trying to actively push to release the information that we've seen to the American people. And so again, you have this aspect of this disinformation campaign that's taking place, trying to discredit it.
Okay. So yeah, an incident took place right before they went into a SCIF. There's not a lot of clear information. There was confirmation from Representative Burlison's office that indeed an incident did take place, and there is an ongoing investigation right now. But there is something that I think we need to discuss here, because I get that Congresswoman Luna has this intention to bring more attention to what happened. And in many cases, yeah, bringing attention to it, making it public, viral even, that usually protects the implicated people from the incident. In this case, it's David Grusch, whatever the incident was. But given that it just happened, she said it was this week, I think yesterday, I think that there needs to be like a little time frame that you need to not say anything and wait for the investigation to move forward a little bit to see what happened. If it happened prior to the SCIF, I know that Matt Laszlo recently, just yesterday, he reported that Luna told him that they still didn't have clearances for a lot of the stuff that they wanted to discuss. And this happened yesterday. So yesterday, there was this SCIF briefing, and whatever the incident was, I don't know, maybe it was related to that. But yeah, something did happen. And just so you guys can see that this is serious stuff. This stuff happens all the time with this, and it happens in the background. It's not just targeted misinformation campaigns or harassment or trolling, which happens a lot on social media. It also happens in like the real world, like Luna just said. But also, I think, and this is just speculation on my part based on what I've seen Grush interact with people and all that, it's very clear that Grush is a very private person. And talking about stuff that happens to him in public has not panned out very well with him because he doesn't like it when people talk about him without him knowing or without his permission. I don't know if Luna saying this was with permission of Grush, but if it wasn't, I would guess that Grush is not happy that this was made public. And it is going to be reported by everybody. So I will just limit myself to saying this. An incident did take place. There aren't really many details, but I would please ask you to not speculate on whatever happened because in Discord servers, on Reddit, on X, people love to just conflate things, play telephone game, and it's not good for anybody. This happened already with Grush when Burlison spoke about Grush's comments about the Nazca beings. And then Burleson had to come out and retract some of what he said and clarify some of what he said. I would guess that if Grush isn't happy with the way this was handled right now, somebody's going to make a statement officially about whatever happened yesterday before that SCIF briefing. But yes, something did happen. And yes, people who are trying to come forward in briefings and hearings are actively going through stuff, suffering intimidation, all kinds of stuff that happens. So that's the news of it. Another aspect that I want to touch on a little bit are the hearings that are coming on September 9th. It kind of seems like whatever George Knapp is going to talk about, I wouldn't underestimate whatever information he can relay because it could be anything really. It could be stuff from what I told you guys before about the Soviet Union visit that he made, about all of those documents that he brought. It could be George Knapp talking on behalf of Matthew Brown, for example, more details, because you got to remember, George hasn't signed any NDAs to our knowledge. So he's free to talk about anything he wants, and he's going to do it under oath. So you can make sure that he's going to say some stuff, like really stuff that maybe he hasn't ever said before in public. So I would be paying a lot of attention to that. And also, Mr. Dillon from the Air Force, I would pay attention to whatever he has to say because he's new. And maybe there are some accounts from him that could be worthwhile. I don't know what he's going to talk about, but let's pay attention and let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater, as they say. We got to wait. I know that there's a lot of people that aren't happy that it kind of seems like all of the different witnesses just came from a single source, which is Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp. But I think that they've been like involved in this from the very beginning. They were responsible for bringing Grusch to the hearings. They were partly responsible for the past hearings, for whatever happened there. I just ask, why can't it be that we can get a hearing with witnesses from different places, not just one? I would like that for that to happen. And honestly, I'm disappointed that we are not getting people like Dr. Hal Puthoff, Dr. Jim Lakatsky, somebody from the legacy program that we don't know about, that were hands-on, that were part of crash retrievals or bringing UFOs down or whatever. I am disappointed that we're not getting that. And after this hearing, whatever happens, I would expect for whoever is responsible for this to just take it directly to the Senate and just enact changes and orders directly to the Senate, not through Congress, because we already had 3 congressional hearings with the one next week from the House. And so far, I hope that the third one is worth our time, though. But so far, the only one that has been really helpful and meaningful has been the one where David Grusch made his presentation alongside Commander Fravor and Ryan Graves. The other one was not what people expected. I'm sorry, but that's just the reality of it. And we expected something different than what we got here. And I'm not disparaging any of the witnesses. I think Jeff Nicchitelli has a lot to say. I think it's very valuable that he's talking under oath. I think that Alexander Wiggins, his account is very valuable too. Whatever Mr. Dillon is going to say, I think that will be very valuable. But if it is just like from an observer perspective without hands-on action on either craft or bodies or whatever, that's just going to be more of the same that we already got. So I understand people's frustrations, honestly. And whatever George Knapp is going to bring, I think it's going to be valuable because it's going to be in congressional record. If he talks about the Soviet Union, that's going to be big, I think, or some new information with data, with documents. Anything he can present is going to be valuable, but he's not part of the legacy program. So I don't know. What are you guys expecting for the hearings? And what do you guys think about this incident that happened with David Grusch? Do you think it was okay from Luna to talk about it publicly right after it happened? I think it was a little rushed, in my opinion. And I don't know if Grusch approved her talking about it. If he didn't, he must be pissed right now. So let's see what happens. I'll be on the lookout for more information about the details of whatever happened. But an incident did occur, according to Representative Burlison's office. So let me know what you think. If you like the content you see, I'm going to ask you to like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. That's all you need to do in order to help us, and it is what helps us the most. So thank you. But if you want to support us in other ways, there's a few links down there you can choose from. You can become a member in YouTube, or you can support us through KGRA. Anything you choose to do is always appreciated, so thank you. And that's it for me today on this video, but I'll see you guys in the next one. And remember, stay curious and inquisitive like David Grusch. Always. Bye.